Councillor Chairman, the live stream has started.
Thank you. Welcome everyone to the third in a series of public-facing all-member briefings reviewing progress made in delivering the Council's priorities for Cornwall. I'm Councillor Julian German, Leader of the Council, and this presentation will focus on the results of our latest resident survey, which is central to our democratic Cornwall priority. For the benefit of external viewers, the Council agreed the priorities for Cornwall at the start of the current administration back in June 2017, a month after the council elections, and we have remained focused on their delivery over the past 4 years. As we count down to the next council elections in May, it feels appropriate to take a moment to reflect on how far we've come in delivering on the commitments we made to the people of Cornwall. So, colleagues, there seems to be a little bit of background noise, so I don't know if everyone has got their microphones turned off. I think we potentially have now, thank you. So the next slide, this is the democratic Cornwall priority we set in 2017, and I'd like to draw your attention to the words, "We are determined to listen to the people." Our biannual resident survey is one of the means of delivering on that commitment. We also set 2 success measures which are part of the survey: the percentage of residents who agree the council is campaigning and standing up for Cornwall, and the percentage of residents who say we got everything right first time. Today, I'm pleased to share the results of our most recent survey, which asked series of questions to 3,000 residents between October and the end of the year, which shows satisfaction and trust in the council is at record levels. I'm going to highlight the responses to just a few of the questions, but the survey also included questions about how residents felt the council had performed during the COVID crisis. Thankfully, the majority of residents were satisfied with the way we are supporting them and their local communities during the pandemic. These results are testament to the council staff, their hard work and dedication, passion and commitment to putting our residents first and maintaining our key services, especially through the hardest of times, and equally, of course, to the same dedication, passion and commitment by our members, our councillors. That's you yourselves. Thank you, colleagues. A sentiment very much echoed by the Council's Chief Executive. The web link to the full set of results will be shared at the end, so you'll have the opportunity to read them at your leisure. Next slide. So for the first time, the number of residents saying that they're satisfied with the way the Council runs things is just above the Local Government Association's figure, with 69% of responses positive. This is up from 46% in 2017, whereas the figure has remained across the country has remained relatively stable over the same period. I should point out that you will see the LGA polling figure on most of the slides, as they conduct a national survey of residents 3 times a year, so councils can compare their scores, our scores, with the All England figures. So next slide. I was delighted to see that the percentage of residents agreeing that the council provides value for money has increased to its highest level since the question was first asked by the organisation, and now stands at 47%. Still short of the broader LGA figure though of 53%, so room for improvement. In a normal year, our collective work provides homes for those in need, helps educate our children, looks after our parks, beaches and open spaces, keeps our streets clean and moving, helps us stay healthy, collects and recycles your waste, and provides care for vulnerable and older people in your lives. This year, we've also delivered food parcels to the shielding and those in need, sourced personal protective equipment for our key workers, paid out over 340 million of support grants to local businesses, communicated and, as necessary, enforced the ever-changing restrictions, helped our high streets and visitor economy reopen safely, and set up an enhanced contact tracing service, which has now been replicated in other places. We have managed to deliver all of this against growing and challenging financial pressures. We have listened to people's concerns over rising bills and are doing all we can to keep Cornwall's council tax rates well below the England average and one of the lowest in the southwest. These improved results show recognition of our determination and commitment to supporting the residents of Cornwall. Next slide, please. Through our devolution and lobbying work, the council continues to campaign and stand up for Cornwall to ensure our residents enjoy the same opportunities and benefits as those living in cities across the UK. As the graph indicates, happily more residents are recognising our efforts, but we need to do more to push this number up and beyond 52%. Our exposure on the world stage in June, as Cornwall hosts the G7 summit, provides a great opportunity to gain the powers and investment that we've long campaigned for, and we're certainly trying to grasp that moment with both hands. Next slide, please. As we all know, delivering timely and accurate customer service is crucial to building trust and respect. That is why we spent a great deal of time focusing on delivering the council's customer service promise to deliver a reliable, trustworthy and professional service. Delivering on that promise has been crucial over the last 10 months as residents turn to the council for advice and support. Since April last year, we've responded to over 26,000 emails to the COVID inbox, fielded 6,000 calls to the COVID emergency line and nearly 2,000 calls to the shielding line. Again, these positive results of 73% of residents saying we got everything right first time highlight the dedication and hard work of our staff to deliver for our residents and are a particular reflection of the work of our main contact centre. Next slide, please. So, keeping residents informed of the support and services available to them, particularly over the last year, has been a key priority for the council. Our dedicated communications team has coordinated messaging with government, public health and other key organisations to ensure residents and businesses of Cornwall have been well informed of local restrictions, support and services available to them. We have also expanded our communication channels and reach to residents and businesses through social media, our website and the introduction of our residents newsletter. To see that 58% of residents believe they are well informed of our services and benefits is great news, but we still have more work to be done to surpass the LGA figure, which has also increased. Next slide, please. So you'll have seen in the news that a number of councils are on the brink of financial crisis, and we know that Cornwall Council is not one of those. Our sustained commitment to sound financial management, value for money and organisational improvement means we can focus and invest in the areas that matter most to residents whilst remaining efficient and effective. Being responsible and using resources wisely is one of the council's values, and we have held to that belief. We now have 43% of residents agreeing that the council is efficient and well run, a huge increase from the lowly 17% recorded in 2017. Still work to be done, but the travel of direction again is going in the right direction. Next slide, please. So I'm delighted to see that the number of residents who say they have a great or fair amount of trust in the council has jumped to 74%, a significant rise in the past few years and up from 58% in 2018. Trust levels in Cornwall are now 10% higher than the average found in other local authorities. Trust underpins all of our council values. We listen, we are responsible, and we act in the best interests of Cornwall. And this result shows again that we are holding to those beliefs. As I've mentioned previously, our customer service, communications, campaigning and sound management all feed into this successful result and should be one that we are all proud of. Next slide, please. Given the council's role as leader and custodian of place, I'm delighted that 93% of residents are satisfied with their local areas as a place to live. The satisfaction level is now 10% higher than the wider figure across the LGA polling and reflects our commitment to make local areas cleaner, greener and better places to live. And those aspects feature in the next set of slides. So I'm just going to pause for a bit of water while we look at that slide. Great news. So next slide, please. The all-member briefing last week focused on the green element of our green and prosperous priority and showcased an impressive range of projects that have transformed and enhanced the natural environment. I'm delighted that those tangible improvements that are making Cornwall greener have been recognised by residents, with positive direction of travel being maintained from beginning in 29% in 2017 to 52% now. Once again, there's more to be done, but this shows great progress over the last 4 years. Next slide, please. Sadly, the percentage of residents agreeing that the council is making the area cleaner has dipped marginally, but remains 10% higher than since this question was asked in 2019. Again, this is an area that requires further attention, and it underlines the importance of the Littlest campaign and other community initiatives which Councillor Nolan talked about last week. We need to make sure we reinvigorate these grassroots projects as we emerge from the pandemic, from what will hopefully be the last lockdown of the pandemic. We know that there were many pictures on the television of people that had been to, in particular, beautiful locations around beaches and park sites, and unfortunately, particularly at the beginning of the pandemic, many were leaving waste in those locations, and I think that may well have impacted on that indicator. Next slide, please. Given we're on the cusp of starting a new waste contract with the addition of weekly food waste collections, it's worth reflecting on the fact that resident satisfaction with the service remains high. It stands at 88%, which is 5% higher than the LGA figure. Hopefully, the enhanced waste collection service will push that level of satisfaction even higher. I think, again, perhaps someone has unmuted their microphone. Councillor Kazmarek, I'll just mute you. And there appears to be some other background, but I can't see who's unmuted. But I'll carry on nonetheless. So the next slide is around making the area safer. So I'm pleased that our commitment to make Cornwall safer has also been recognised by residents, with an increase of 26% since 2017 in the number of people agreeing with that statement. Well, the direction of travel is very positive. There's no room for complacency, and we need to do more. That said, credit to all of those involved and the Safer Cornwall Partnership, and hopefully we'll see that figure carry on to continue past the 54% in the next survey. You'll see that a number of these questions only have our own figures on, because these areas of particular interest to us and aren't asked more broadly across the local government family. Next slide, please. As Councillor Jeff Brown highlighted in the Connecting Cornwall all-member briefing a fortnight ago, the Council has prioritised road maintenance and focused on repairing potholes. In 2017, when asked one thing the Council should improve, better and more road improvements came out top. We committed an additional 20 million to be spent on Cornwall roads by the end of this year. So far, this funding has seen more than 500 roads resurfaced, improving safety and preventing estimated 2,400 potholes from forming in the first place. However, despite our best efforts, potholes continue to thrive and we work hard to repair them. The number of potholes repaired within the agreed timescales has increased from 95% in 2018 to 99% in 2020, with an average 62 being repaired every day in 2020. It's therefore encouraging to see that the percentage of residents satisfied with road maintenance has increased by 11% over the last 4 years, and that we're keeping in track with the LGA figure. Obviously, we're looking forward to surpassing that. Next slide, please. Additional investment in adult social care has also been recognised by residents, with a 19% increase since 2017, albeit not a continually upward line there. So that increase in satisfaction with services and support for older people provided by the Council. This is another service area the Council has prioritised over the past 4 years to improve the care for vulnerable and older adults, with investment in adult social care increased significantly. In that time, we have freed up over 7,000 hospital bed days a year by ensuring people can get the care they need to leave hospital without stay well enough. We've helped more people to get well enough to live independently in their own home again after a stay in hospital, rather than having to go into care. Thanks to our investment in the reablement services, 11% more older people are going home after a stay in hospital rather than going into care. Over 9 in 10 of the people we care for and support say that our services make them feel safe and secure, and it's clear from the resident survey that our commitment to improvement is being recognised by the wider population. So next slide, please. Finally, I want to highlight this particular slide. When asked for the one thing the Council should improve, for the first time ever, the most common response was nothing. Though exceptionally, through exceptionally difficult personal, resource and financial times over the past year, we have been there for our residents, and it's clear from these results that they recognise that. Of course, there are areas, as I've highlighted above, that we can and will improve upon, and in the lower results there we see some of those areas that we've just mentioned as well. So next slide, please. The results of this survey are very positive, and ones that all of us as councillors leading Cornwall should be rightly proud of. Again, I want to record my thanks to officers and councillors for their continued commitment and hard work. Members of the council, you've worked hard in your electoral divisions, but also in the committees and in other ways strategically, and you've all contributed towards these improving results. More can always be done to improve, however, and I know that together we will continue to do our very best to support the residents of Cornwall. So thank you very much, colleagues. Now I'm going to open up to comments and questions. I have been having a bit of difficulty with the raise your hand function, and I can't see anyone with a raised hand, so you may have one, but I can't see it. So if we could use the meeting chat, or if meeting producer, you could let me be aware of anyone with a raised hand, I'd be grateful. I can't see any X's in the box either. Councillor Rand, I've seen you come. Councillor Rand, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and a fantastic job you've been doing, if I may say so. I mean that genuinely. I think it's been a huge challenge for you and your colleagues in the cabinet. The one question I'd like to put to you, Julian, is regarding adult social care. This is an area which, of course, is a massive expense, commitment, etc. for the council. The responsibilities are endless in a way, and also in most areas, you know, we all get old. I had my first jab today, and I think, well, that's because I'm a bit older. But nonetheless, there is a side to this. We are a place where our population is aging more than the average. It's an area where people would like to retire to, so that adds to the burden. And you know, given our population, this is perhaps a disproportionate burden. I just wanted to ask, in that regard, whether you've had any favourable, helpful comments from the government in recognition of the challenges that we face in Cornwall. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rand. So, yeah, the delivery of social care is absolutely a key part of what the council does. We can see that reflected in our budgets, and indeed in those budget discussions we've had the recent recommendation from the Health and Social Care Overview and Scrutiny Committee about writing to government. We've got the long-awaited government announcements on the funding of social care, and it's simply not acceptable that residents have to disproportionately fund social care in Cornwall, but there's the lottery. I've got some background feedback again, and perhaps Julian, if you'd like to turn your mic off, that might help. Thank you. It's a lottery as to how much can be raised. So obviously different populations, but also different numbers of houses in different bands. So some authorities are more able to. I think I heard the leader of Surrey talking about their ability to be able to disproportionately raise revenue through council tax compared to other councils. So we really need a government-led funding solution to social care. That's been talked about for many years, but isn't coming through. And we've seen this year, and we've had the adult social care precept in recent years as well, but this year the ability for councils to add 3% on social care, which is very much needed, but it's at a time that that's another burden to our residents in paying higher council tax that is challenging. So we're going to try and mitigate that for our residents that are least able to afford it, but hugely challenging. And bearing in mind the Health and Social Care Overview and Scrutiny Committee recommendations, we'll shortly be writing to government on this topic.
Can I just come back quickly with a supplementary, if I may, Julian, in regard to what we've just talked about? Obviously, the additional funding, though it's a burden on our constituents, and you know, it shouldn't be that way. You know, the government had promised to look at adult social care in a different way and come forward with solutions to that on a firm basis going forward. And okay, we've had COVID and all the other things. I understand that. What I'm concerned about is the money that we're going to get really maintains the status quo, if you like, maintains the standards that we're already achieving, hopefully improve a little. But the whole industry is under threat, and obviously in Corserve and the group of companies, we we are involved in that, so I see it firsthand, and I know that you know, it's a struggle to maintain the standards in the homes that we're involved with. Obviously, you know, there's one at Red Roof that we've taken over regularly. So, you know, that is a big challenge, because it's not only looking after and caring for the people, it's making sure that the environment is totally safe and totally, up to scratch in terms of going forward and providing better care. So again, is that something hopefully that will come forward in those discussions?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we want to hear from government, and it's not just Cornwall Council. As colleagues will know, I'm sit on the County Council's network leaders group and the executive of that body, as well as being a vice chair at the LGA, and across local government we all share those concerns. So we've got that collective voice into government, as well as us as Cornwall Council making those representations directly ourselves. Councillor Brown, I can see your hand up.
Yeah, I think this is extremely positive, and I hope most councillors will regard it as being that. Although obviously the council, even with this encouragement, is going to strive for further improvement, and I'm sure that's a message that you're putting across. What I wanted to ask is really a question about the statistics, in that what we've been given is all information about Cornwall as a whole. I don't know whether there is or will be information about subdivisions of Cornwall, so whether that will bring out differences either between urban and rural areas, or between say West Cornwall and East Cornwall, and whether that is going to help the council with its targeting of resources in the medium term.
Thank you, Councillor Brown. So I'm going to ask Matt Barton to comment on this. I know that we have some of that data at community network level. Some of it is more robust than others, depending upon how many people answered which particular question at community network level, but it becomes certainly less robust at parish level, and not really usable in terms of the amount of statistical, Malcolm, you'll know the word better than I. I'm struggling to bring it to the top of my head, but the statistical difference that can be shown through that. But Matt, would you like to comment, please?
Yes, will do, Leader. So when members see the full set of results, for the majority of the questions, we've got the split between East, Mid, West. So again, just to reiterate, this is a survey of 3,000 residents. So effectively, kind of rule of thumb, you've got 1,000 at each of those three areas. We can take it down further to community network level, but again, just to echo what the leader mentioned, the smaller the sample frame, once you get into community network levels, then it does affect the kind of validity of the results and the confidence that we would have. So our preference is to stick at either a Cornwall wide level or the East Mid West split of approximately 1,000 responses per area.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope that's answered your question. Councillor Cole, please, next.
Thank you, Julian. My question was exactly Malcolm Brown's question, so that's going to be nice and easy for you, because I know we did surveys back along which did have a higher number of respondents, which did go down to the network areas, and I think it would be interesting to do that again in the future, given what I would say was significant disparity across Cornwall in those areas, which won't be picked up if you do it on a Cornwall-wide basis, or indeed if you split Cornwall into three. So I dare say the views of people in Truro and Clay Country are going to be very, very different for a mid-Cornwall. So thank you.
We will. So we do different sample sizing on different at different times, and obviously the more the larger the survey, the larger the cost. So we do those, but less frequently. We'll happily remember the residents in South East Cornwall when we had that lower level data were happier with everything than other residents. So that's great news for South East Cornwall. Meeting producer, might just be me. I can't see any other hands up or X's in the box. Can you clarify for me, please?
Yes, Councillor German, Sarah Goodall, Democratic Services. I can't see any further hands up, and I believe you've answered every question that was put in the chat box.
Thank you. So, colleagues, a moment for you to get your hand up and for Sarah to call out if I don't see it go up before we finish the all-member briefing. I hope you'll see that there's some really good news in there, particularly around the trust that residents have in the council. As Councillor Brown said and I've said, you know, we're on a continuous improvement journey, so it's great to see some of those figures just around the LGA polling average, some of those figures exceeding them, but of course we always want to do better for the residents of Cornwall, so that will very much be our ambition to keep on improving despite the financial challenges and the challenges that the pandemic has thrown at us. So just to confirm, meeting producer, no further hands up or X's in the box?
No, none, Chair. Councillor German.
Thank you very much. In which case then, colleagues, thank you very much for your time. Hope you found that interesting, and you'll receive that link with the full set of data shortly. So thank you all very much. Naraz Braz.